All right, let's dive into something pretty fascinating today.
Oh, yeah.
The Noble Eightfold Path is going to be Thanissaro Bhikkhu's book,
Okay.
The Noble Eightfold Path.
Yeah, what's really remarkable is how relevant these teachings still are today,
Oh.
even after centuries. It's
Yeah.
like they're a timeless toolkit for navigating, the ups and downs of life.
Totally. But before we get into the details, can we get a quick overview of what this Eightfold Path is?
Yeah, so think of it as a roadmap
Okay.
with 8 different aspects that are all interconnected.
Okay.
And each one is designed to cultivate a specific quality that leads us away from suffering and toward liberation.
Okay.
And it's not about being perfect in any one area.
Right.
It's about weaving them all together to create
A holistic path to inner peace?
So it's less about checking boxes and more about a gradual unfolding.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
And the book emphasizes that the goal isn't to arrive
Right.
at any individual factor, but to use them all as a path
Right.
that's leading to release from suffering.
So it's the journey itself.
Yeah, it's about the journey.
That continual refinement and integration
Right.
of these qualities into our lives.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So what are these 8 elements and how do they fit together?
Well, the book groups them into 3 categories.
Okay.
Discernment, virtue, and concentration.
Okay.
Right view and right resolve form the foundation of discernment, which gives us the wisdom to see the world clearly
Okay.
and make choices that are aligned with that
For
understanding.
discernment is like laying the groundwork,
Exactly.
making sure we're building on solid ground.
Precisely.
Okay.
Then comes virtue with right speech, right action, and right livelihood.
Okay. Those are about aligning our actions with our understanding.
So walking the walk.
Walking the walk, yeah.
Okay.
And finally, concentration, which is fueled by right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration.
Okay.
Gives us the tools to actually focus and train our minds.
Okay. And the beauty is that each category supports the others.
Exactly.
You can't have true ethical conduct without wisdom and understanding.
Right.
And those insights are best cultivated with a focused, well-trained mind.
Yeah, it's a beautiful synergy.
All right, so let's dive into the first element, right view.
Okay.
I have to admit, the word right makes me think of absolutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's only one correct way to see things.
Yeah, that's a common concern.
Yeah.
But the book clarifies that right view isn't about dogma
Right.
or rigid beliefs.
Okay.
It's about cultivating an understanding of reality that's based on the 4 noble truths.
Okay, remind me, those are about suffering, the
Right.
cause of suffering,
Mm-hmm.
the end of suffering, and the path to ending suffering, right?
You got it.
Okay.
And right view involves internalizing those truths,
Okay.
not just intellectually, but experientially,
Okay.
seeing how they play out in your own life and in the world around you.
So less about having all the right answers,
Yeah.
more about developing a clear, honest perspective on how things actually work.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the book uses this great analogy of a seed.
Okay.
So our consciousness is like a seed.
Mhm.
Our past actions create the soil it grows in.
Okay.
And our delight in creating or destroying things is the water that nourishes it.
Interesting. So are we supposed to just sit back and watch the seed grow?
Well, the point is to become aware of the process,
Okay.
to see how our constant need to manipulate and control things is actually contributing to our suffering.
Okay.
It's about learning to observe things simply as they are
Yeah.
without that urge to interfere.
That sounds like a tall order,
It is.
especially in our fast-paced, always-on world.
It is. It's a practice.
Right.
And this is where right resolve comes in.
Okay.
It's about making a conscious choice
Okay.
to cultivate happiness that doesn't rely on harming others
Right.
or constantly chasing external gratification.
So if right view gives us the map,
Yes.
right resolves is the fuel that keeps us moving forward on the path.
I like that analogy.
Okay.
And the book highlights that this resolve is especially important
Okay.
when our minds are a mess.
Yeah.
When we're feeling overwhelmed or scattered,
Right.
the urge to lash out or indulge in unhealthy habits can be really strong.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that.
Okay.
But what's the antidote?
Well,
More meditation.
the book makes a really interesting point about meditation.
Okay.
It says that even when your mind feels totally chaotic,
Okay.
sitting in meditation isn't a waste of time.
Really? Even if it feels like I'm just battling a swarm of thoughts the whole time?
Yeah.
Isn't that counterproductive?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It becomes an opportunity to observe those thoughts.
Right.
To understand their patterns without getting swept away by them.
Okay.
It's a chance to choose not to act. on those unskillful impulses.
So even a bad meditation session could be a training ground for resolve. I like that reframing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it emphasizes the importance of intention.
Okay.
The book quotes Ajahn Lee, who's a famous meditation master.
Right.
He warns against killing your goodness by being heedless.
So we have to actively nourish our good intentions.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to meditation.
Absolutely. It's like not stealing from your practice.
Right.
Each moment of mindfulness.
Yeah.
Each effort to be present.
Okay.
It's a valuable deposit in the bank of your well-being.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to meditation.
Good.
So we've got right view, setting the stage.
Right.
Right resolve, keeping us motivated.
Yeah.
What's next on this eightfold path?
Well, now we move from understanding and intention to action. Let's explore the next set of elements. Right speech, action, and livelihood.
Okay.
The building blocks of ethical conduct.
All right, let's talk ethics. These seem pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Don't lie, don't steal, be kind. But I have a feeling there's more nuance to them than meets the eye.
You're right. There's a lot more depth here than just simple rules.
Okay.
And the book dives into some really fascinating nuances, particularly around right speech.
Okay.
Ready to unpack that one first?
Absolutely. Right speech, here we come.
Let's do it. So right speech.
Okay.
It's more than just avoiding lies and gossip.
Right.
The book really emphasizes that it's deeply connected to how we think.
Okay.
And even how honest we are with ourselves.
Wait, being honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
How does that tie into right speech?
Well, the book presents this idea that we should apply right speech not only to our words, but also to our inner dialogue.
Okay.
Think of it as holding our thoughts accountable to the same standards of truthfulness, benefit, and timeliness that we apply to what we say out loud.
Wow. That's a challenging concept.
Yeah.
It's like our mind is a courtroom.
It is.
Where we have to be both the witness and the judge of our own thoughts.
That's a great way to put it. It's about recognizing when we're justifying harmful thoughts or engaging in self-deception.
Right.
Are we telling ourselves stories that if we spoke them out loud, we would realize are untrue or unkind?
That's a powerful practice.
It is.
It makes you realize how often we let our inner critic run wild.
Oh, yeah.
Saying things to ourselves that we'd never say to a friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the book also reminds us
that
it's not just about what we say and think, but also about our actions. Right action and right livelihood. Follow naturally from right speech and right view.
Right, so it's about walking the walk,
exactly.
not just talking the talk.
Yeah. And the book shares a story
about an actor and a soldier who were both misled about the karmic impact of their profession.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
The actor thought he was going to go to the heaven of laughter for entertaining people.
Exactly.
And the soldier believed that dying in battle would send him to the heaven of heroes.
Yeah, but the Buddha pointed out that it's not the action itself that matters most.
Yeah.
But the intention behind it.
Right. Okay.
So if the actor's performance was fueled by greed, hatred, or delusion, he might end up in a much less pleasant place.
Right. And the soldier, if he was driven by bloodlust rather than a sense of duty, would find himself facing some pretty unpleasant karmic consequences.
Exactly. So even actions that seem positive on the surface can have negative consequences if they're rooted in harmful intentions.
That's really interesting.
And that brings us to right livelihood.
Okay.
The idea of earning a living in a way that aligns with our values.
And doesn't contribute to suffering.
Okay, this is where it gets really real for me.
Yeah.
We live in a complex world.
We do.
It's hard to know if every purchase we make or every job we take is 100% ethical.
Right.
How do we even begin to navigate that?
The book acknowledges that it's a really complex issue.
Yeah.
But it challenges us to think critically about our choices.
Okay.
You know, asking ourselves, is my work harming others?
Right.
Are my purchases supporting businesses that exploit people or damage the environment? Am I using my resources in a way that benefits myself and others?
Those are tough questions.
These are tough questions.
It's like the book's baby jerky analogy.
Right.
As graphic as it is.
Yeah.
It really forces us to confront the reality of our consumption.
That analogy really stuck with me, too.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder that our need for food, clothing, shelter, even entertainment often comes at a cost to other beings.
Right. It challenges us to see our consumption,
not
just as a source of personal satisfaction, but as part of a larger web of interdependence.
Exactly.
Where our choices have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah. And that awareness can be a powerful motivator to make more conscious, compassionate choices.
Okay, so we've covered the wisdom of right view and resolve.
Right.
And the ethical foundations of right speech, action, and livelihood.
Yeah.
But how do we actually put all this into practice?
Right.
Where does concentration fit into this picture?
That's where the final 3 elements come in.
Okay.
Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration.
Okay.
They provide the tools and techniques to cultivate the mental strength and clarity we need to walk this path.
I'm ready to dive into that.
Okay.
I think a lot of people, myself included, struggle with staying focused and present in a world that's constantly vying for our attention.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The book emphasizes that right effort is about finding that sweet spot between pushing too hard and being too lax.
Okay.
It's like tuning a lute.
Okay.
You know, not too tight, not too loose.
Right.
Just the right amount of tension for the string to resonate beautifully.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the story in the book about Venerable Sona.
Yes.
Whose feet bled from overexerting himself during walking meditation.
Yeah, the Buddha taught him to adjust his effort, recognizing that the path isn't a race or a punishment, but a journey of gradual progress.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the most skillful effort involves slowing down, being kind to ourselves.
Absolutely.
And trusting the process.
And speaking of trusting the process,
okay,
let's talk about right mindfulness.
Okay.
It's often misunderstood as just passively observing our thoughts.
Right.
But the book presents a much more active and purposeful view.
Okay, I'm curious to hear more about that.
All right.
How is right mindfulness more than just observation?
It's about actively cultivating skillful qualities like generosity, patience, and loving kindness, while letting go of unskillful ones like greed, hatred, and delusion.
So it's not just noticing our anger.
Yeah.
It's about choosing not to act on it.
Exactly.
And actively cultivating patience instead.
Exactly. It's about consciously shifting our mental state towards something more wholesome and beneficial.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So how do we actually practice mindfulness?
Well,
does it involve specific techniques?
The book mentions 2 main types. The more detailed type involves what they call the 4 establishings of mindfulness. Mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of the mind, and mindfulness of mental qualities.
And these establishings help us to pay attention to those different aspects of our experience in a clear and focused way.
Precisely. And the book encourages us to use the body as our primary frame of reference, always bringing our attention back to the breath, even during everyday activities. It's like having an anchor that keeps us grounded in the present moment.
That's a great image.
Yeah.
It reminds me of those mindfulness exercises where you focus on the sensations of your feet on the ground, or the feeling of the air on your skin.
It's about cultivating a sense of embodied presence.
Right. Okay.
And then there's a simpler type of mindfulness, which is just constantly reminding ourselves of the qualities we want to develop and the qualities we want to let go of.
So like a mental checklist.
Yeah.
Am I being patient right now? Am I being kind?
Yeah.
Am I acting out of greed or generosity?
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about cultivating an ongoing awareness of our intentions and motivations, aligning our actions with our values.
I love how practical and applicable that is.
Yeah.
And it seems like this kind of mindfulness practice is essential for cultivating the final element.
It is.
Right? Concentration.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. Mindfulness is the foundation for right concentration.
Okay.
It creates the stability and clarity we need to access deeper states of meditative absorption.
Okay. I have to admit, I always had a bit of a misconception about concentration.
Oh, yeah.
I used to think it was all about cutting off the senses. Forcing the mind into some kind of rigid stillness.
That's a common misunderstanding.
Right.
But the book presents jhana, which is the state of deep concentration cultivated through meditation, not as a form of deprivation, but as a source of profound pleasure and well-being.
Really? So it's not about gritting your teeth and enduring discomfort?
Not at all.
Okay.
Jhana is about finding a sense of inner seclusion from all the noise and distractions of the external world, creating a space where the mind can settle and experience deep tranquility and joy.
Okay, that sounds much more appealing.
Yeah.
But how do we access these pleasurable states of concentration?
Well, the book uses this wonderful analogy to describe this.
Okay.
The bull elephant.
I do love a good analogy.
All right.
Tell me about this elephant.
So imagine a bull elephant who's tired of the chaos and commotion of the herd.
Okay.
And he seeks out solitude by the river.
Okay.
And he finds peace and contentment, bathing alone, free from the jostling and muddy water.
Okay.
Stirred up by the other elephants.
This is like finding that quiet space within ourselves.
Exactly.
A refuge from the constant stimulation and demands of everyday life.
And the book describes the pleasure and equanimity found in jhana as being like that elephant scratching himself with a twig after his refreshing bath. Just a simple act that brings deep satisfaction and allays an itch.
That's such a vivid image. It makes jhana sound almost enticing.
Right.
But I'm still curious about the practicalities.
Okay.
How do we cultivate this deep concentration? Does it involve specific techniques or practices?
The book dives into the different stages of jhana, each characterized by specific changes in mental activity. For example, in the second jhana, you let go of that constant stream of internal chatter.
So it's about moving beyond thinking. And into a more direct experience of the present moment.
Exactly. And the book describes this as a state of unification.
Okay.
Where your awareness and the object of your meditation seem to merge into one.
Wow, that sounds profound.
It is.
And as we progress through the jhanas, we let go of even subtler layers of mental activity.
Right.
Eventually reaching a state of deep absorption and tranquility.
Precisely.
Okay.
But it's important to remember that the jhanas aren't just about achieving blissful states of mind.
Right.
They're also powerful tools for understanding the nature of reality.
Right.
And dismantling the causes of suffering.
So this is where right view comes back into play.
Exactly.
We're not just seeking concentration for its own sake.
Right.
But using it to gain deeper insight into the workings of our minds.
Right, exactly. And that insight helps us break free from unhelpful patterns and cultivate the qualities that lead to genuine happiness and liberation. All of these elements, from right view to right concentration, work together to create a path that leads us beyond suffering toward a life of true freedom and fulfillment.
I'm so grateful for this deep dive.
Me too.
It's given me so much to think about and a renewed sense of inspiration for my own practice.
I encourage all our listeners to explore these teachings for themselves and discover the transformative power of the Noble Eightfold Path.
So we've explored each element of the Noble Eightfold Path. But I'm curious how it all comes together in practice.
Right.
Is it about mastering each element individually? Or is there more to it?
That's a great question. And it gets to the heart of what the book emphasizes. These 8 elements are interconnected. It's not about checking them off a list, but about weaving them together into this tapestry of wise understanding, ethical conduct, and mental cultivation.
So it's not about being a meditation master while neglecting how we speak to others.
Exactly.
Or striving for perfect ethical conduct without cultivating the mental strength to follow through.
Yeah, the path requires a holistic approach. It's a commitment to cultivating all 8 elements. In a balanced and integrated way.
So it's about recognizing that each element supports and enhances the others.
Exactly.
And that makes me think about the importance of right view as the foundation of the whole path. If we don't have a clear understanding of the 4 noble truths, you know, the reality of suffering, its causes, and the possibility of liberation, our efforts to cultivate the other elements might be misdirected.
That's a crucial point.
Right.
View sets the stage. It illuminates the way, helping us see the world and ourselves with clarity and wisdom.
It's like having a compass.
Exactly.
That points us in the right direction. Without it, we might wander aimlessly, lost in a sea of confusion and suffering.
Precisely. And once we have that clear direction, that understanding of the nature of reality, then we can cultivate the other elements with greater intention and purpose.
So resolve fuels our commitment to ethical living. Expressed through right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And those ethical foundations, in turn, create the fertile ground for cultivating right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The qualities that allow us to tame our minds break free from negative patterns, and experience true peace and freedom.
It's like a beautiful spiral.
Yeah.
Each element supporting and reinforcing the others.
Right.
Propelling us ever closer to the ultimate goal of liberation.
And as we navigate this path, it's important to remember that it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
The book emphasizes that it requires ongoing effort, patience, and a willingness to learn from our mistakes.
Absolutely.
It's not about reaching some fixed state of enlightenment, but about engaging in a continuous process of growth, refinement, and self-discovery.
Exactly.
And this process requires understanding cause and effect, the principle of karma. We need to see how our thoughts, words, and actions create consequences, both for ourselves and others. And make choices that lead to greater well-being and liberation.
It's about taking responsibility for our choices.
Yeah.
And recognizing that even small actions can have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what key takeaways from the book would you say are most helpful for putting the Noble Eightfold Path into practice in our daily lives?
One that really stands out to me is the reminder that progress on this path is about cultivating skillful qualities and abandoning unskillful ones. It's not about becoming perfect overnight, but about recognizing when we're acting out of greed, hatred, or delusion, and making a conscious effort to choose a different path.
So it's about developing that inner awareness, that ability to step back and observe our thoughts and actions with a bit more objectivity.
Exactly.
And another key takeaway is the importance of balance.
The
Buddha emphasized the middle way, avoiding extremes of self-indulgence or self-denial. That makes me think of right effort. Finding that sweet spot between pushing too hard and being too lax.
Exactly.
It's about being kind to ourselves while also challenging ourselves to grow.
Precisely.
And this balance applies to all aspects of the path. It's about finding harmony between wisdom and compassion, between contemplation and action, between cultivating our inner world and engaging with the world around us.
This deep dive has been incredibly insightful.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the Noble Eightfold Path. Not just as a set of ancient teachings, but as a practical and relevant guide for navigating the challenges of modern life.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
It's been a pleasure exploring these profound teachings with you.
Likewise.
And I encourage all our listeners to embark on their own journey of discovery. With the Noble Eightfold Path as their compass.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
And until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of life.
Absolutely.